Okay, let's begin with the Mishnah towards the bottom of the page, Memtes 49. I just mentioned that Taisus Elisha Balkanafayim in the middle, he says, Ve'ein temal mashimitzu zeisrifuyi b'yadenu.
And just mute everyone.
Oh, okay. So it goes like this. The Mishnah says, Taimnin b'shalachim. You can do hatmana in hides. Rashi translates shlachim as hides, and he quotes a skins. He quotes the Targum. V'hifshid is vishalach. So shlachim is the Aramaic. It's interesting. We use an Aramaic word in the Mishnah. It's a machlekes if during the days of the Mishnah people spoke Hebrew or Aramaic. Anyway, you can use hides to insulate, they don't become, and they're not muktzah. Hides aren't muktzah. You're allowed to move them around. Rashi says that they're not muktzah whether you use them or whether you didn't use them to insulate. They're always not muktzah. Why? He says you can sit on them or you can lean on them. Because if you're using these clippings, shearings of wool, you can use them, but you can't move them. Well, so what are you going to do? You have a pot inside items that you can't move. So it says like this, you take off the cover, and they'll fall off. So Rashi answers the question that there's an issue of being a basis. It's a base. How are you allowed to move the cover and they'll fall off? They're a base for these clippings of wool that are muktzah. So Rashi answers that it's not considered a base because they're made to cover the pot. They're there to cover the pot. The pot's not there to hold them. So when we say basis is when my table is used to hold something that's muktzah. But not if that's used to protect for the table. Okay, so we don't have the issue of buses, but you do have the issue of muktzah.
Why is it muktzah? It had a planned use for Shabbat.
Yeah.
To insulate.
The problem is that these are also going to be used for to be turned into cloth. So we learned before that there was an issue of muktzah machmas chisar and kiss. But we learned this about the mukin, that the mukin they really have another use. In the interim, you're using it to insulate a pot, but really they're going to be used for something much more significant. So because of that, they're considered muktzah. It's interesting that even that's unclear. Let's wait. Ve'in metaltanais, and Rashi says, Ve'in metaltanais, what are they made for? They're muktzah. You're going to spin it and weave it. Obviously, it's muktzah even when you are using it, right? That's why the Gemara asks. You have to take it out. How do you get the pot out? How do you get the cover off? He says, well, you can remove the cover, and they'll fall. This is removing the cover and they'll fall on its own. It's called tiltul min hatzad. There's certain ways that muktzah is permissible to move if it's done in this backhand manner. Tiltul min hatzad. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Aimer Kupa. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says that the box, the way they would insulate was that they had a box. They would put in it the insulation material, and the pot would go in that. Or maybe they put the pot in and they would put the insulation around it. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says this box, matel tzida, you have to tip it to the side. Benaitel, and then you take the pot out. And maybe you take the food out. Take the pot out. The problem is, shemiyitel, if you just take the pot out straight, lift the pot out of the insulation, then maybe the insulation, the pieces of wool will fall down to the bottom. You won't be able to put the pot back in. But if you tilt it to the side, somehow you'll be able to, I don't know exactly what the situation is, but why can't you take a ladle and take the food out? I mean, you have the cover off already. What do you? I'm not sure exactly. There's something here that it's like the answer is you had to be there, to see what the situation is. Why exactly he has to tilt it to the side? And the Chachamim say no, you can take it out and put it back. Okay. Yosef Rabbi Yochanan ben Achinai v'Rabbi Yonasan ben Eliezer v'Yosef Rabbi Chanina bar Chama Gabayo. Very early Amoraim in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yonasan ben Achinai, Rabbi Yonasan ben Eliezer. I don't know who's the senior here. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama sounds like he's the senior. The Kami Bailu. He was asking of them, Shlachan shel balabayas, hides of a homeowner. Tanan was taught in the Mishnah that those are not muktzah. Aval shaluman, but if it's a craftsman, means this is his business, he's going to want to sell them. Kivan the kapitalai leimetaltalin, because he's makbid, he's not going to. You're not allowed to move them. Why? Because he needs to present these to a purchaser. So don't sit on them. They really have no other use other than for sale. He happens to be using it right now, but officially these are designated for sale. Or Dilma, or maybe Shalumantanan, or maybe it's even not muktzah, even if it is belong to a craftsman. These things are tough material. This is leather. B'kolshkin shel balabayas, and for sure if it's a homeowner, he doesn't mind if you sit on it, so therefore it's not muktzah. Okay, that's a question. Amalahu Rabbi Yonasan ben Elazar. Rabbi Yonasan ben Elazar gives an answer. He tells to them, Mistabra makes sense shel balabayas tanan, that it's only the homeowners. If it would be a craftsman, he wants to be careful. He doesn't want anyone to sit on it or anything until he has it sold. Mistabra shel balabayas tanan. Aval shaluman kapidalayo. But if it's a craftsman, he's going to be more careful, and he doesn't want you to sit on it. So it's going to be muktzah. So what we learned in the Mishnah is referring to a balabayas. Amlu Rabbi Chanina bar Chama. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama responds, Kacham Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi. This is what Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi said. Abba Shilchavi. He says, my father was a tanner. I didn't know this. Rabbi Yosi was a tanner. Rabbi Yosi was a historian. He was also a tanner. We have some interesting information here. Va'amar haviu shlachin b'nei shevaleim, and he would say, bring the hides, we'll sit on them. It means even though he was an uman, but he would still sit on it, even though he had the hides for sale. So that means that even an uman is not muktzah. Umar asks, Meisvei nisarim shel balabayas metaltal naisan. Boards of a balabayas, this is wooden boards, I guess. Those are not muktzah, and I think it's referring to boards that a baker uses, but I'm not sure exactly. Doesn't say, Rashi doesn't tell me what these boards are for. But if it's a craftsman, then I don't know, uman means the baker or uman means the carpenter. You can't use it. A craftsman is his boards are muktzah, unless he decided to use it to hold, to serve food, to serve the bread to the guests. Then it's not muktzah. But you see that something that belongs to an uman, to a craftsman, he has it prepared for sale. So it is muktzah. So the Gemara answers, Shani Nasarim the Kapit Alayo. Yeah, boards are different than hides. Boards, you're more makbid on. Hides, you're not so makbid on. Okay. It's a distinction. Tashema, now we bring a raya to this. We say iris, that's hides, leather, bein avudim, bein sheinim avudim, whether it's already been fully tanned or not, mutal tatlum b'Shabbos. You're allowed to move it on Shabbos. What's the reason? Because you can use it for sitting. So what is the difference between avudim or not, if they're tanned, if they're fully tanned? Regarding impurity, if it's considered a vessel, then it could become tameh. When is it considered a vessel? Only after it's fully tanned. So the difference between fully tanned and not is only regarding tumah, not regarding muktzah. My love, is it not? In other words, what case are we talking about here? Leishna shel balabayas, leishna shel uman, that it doesn't matter. A balabayas and uman, both hides are, both of their hides, whether tanned or not tanned, are not muktzah. Even an uman. It's a very good rayat. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama and Rabbi Yosi, well, I don't know, Rabbi Yosi probably wasn't talking about on Shabbos, Tesis mentions. Rabbi Yosi would just say, let's sit on the hides. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama is using that as a raya that they're not muktzah on Shabbos because they were used. So this is a raya. The Gemara says lie. It's not actually a raya to that opinion. It's shel balabayas. That brisa that says that avudim are not avudim are tamei, but not. You have to go ask mommy. But not avudim are not tamei, but both of them are not muktzah. Both of them are not muktzah. That's only referring to a balabayas. Avol shel uman mai. What would be the din by a uman? Ein metaltlin. It is muktzah. You can't move it. Ein metaltlin means it's muktzah. Yachi, if that's the case, you said that the distinction between if it's tanned or if it's not tanned is only regarding tumah. 1 second. We have another distinction. Liflig lifni bedida. You could divide that case as well. Say it like this. When do we say that that's the whole difference? Is that's only by a balabayas, that's only by a homeowner. Because his, whether it's tanned or not tanned, neither of them are muktzah. But by an uman, it's not going to work like that. Now, which one is going to be muktzah by an uman? So I was a little surprised. The one that's going to be muktzah for the uman is the one that's fully tanned. That's the one that he wants to sell. The other one that's not fully tanned, he's still working on it. And that he doesn't mind if you sit on it. So the brisa should have said, if it's making a distinction between avudim and ein avudim, and it says, oh, there's only a difference b'negei tumah, the brisa really should have said that for an uman, there's a difference between avudim and sheinim avudim, even for muktzah.
Is the issue here that for the uman, it's merchandise,
right?
And he may come to want to sell it on Shabbos?
Not that anyone you want to come to sell it on Shabbos. The issue is that it's been designated not to touch those things because there's someone that's going to come and want to buy them. I don't want them to get ruined.
So the same object in my house or in an uman's house is different.
Right. In an uman's house, he has it on display for people to buy. Let's say a Megillah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a Megillah. So a Megillah in my house is to read. And a Megillah in Maisha's house is to sell, I assume. You have two. The other ones, besides for his personal one, all of those are for sale. You don't want to get the grease, your fingers on it. You follow? So that the one Megillah is usable. The other one is is for sale. It's muktzah. That's the muktzah machmas chisan kes. Okay, so here we're talking about the hides of uman. We're saying that it's very possible that the brisa is not talking about an uman at all. The brisa is only talking about. Oh, 1 second, I'm giving you the answer already. The Gemara is asking a question. Why does the brisa give only a distinction between whether it's tanned or not tanned regarding tumah? I have another distinction. By the uman, there's a difference between if it's fully tanned or not. If it's fully tanned, then he has it already on display, and no one should use it. So that's muktzah. But if it's not tanned, then it's not muktzah. If it's not fully tanned. So the kula b'balabais. 1 second. Don't touch this because it's changing the sound. The brisa is not talking about a numan b'chlal. That's the answer. The question was, why didn't you liflik v'lisni b'dida? Why didn't you divide up the brisa and give me a distinction between if it's tanned or not tanned regarding a craftsman? The Gemara answers because we're not talking about a craftsman. The whole brisa is only talking about a balabayas. That's why we didn't throw in that distinction. Okay. Now the Gemara says ketanoi. This actually follows an earlier machlekas. Oiris shel balabayas metaltal noisan. The hides that are owned by the homeowner, those are not muktzah. B'shaluman, if it's owned by a craftsman, by a tanner, ein metaltal noisan, then it is muktzah. Rabbi Yosi says metaltal noisan, that you're allowed to move it. That's Rabbi Yosi's opinion that we had on the top. Rabbi Yosi was a tanner himself, and he holds that it's not muktzah because he uses it. He uses it. You would buy hides from Rabbi Yosi. They were already used. So he had his own opinion. I think I mentioned I had a friend in yeshiva. He was very into learning. He wasn't aware of the rest of the world. Anything. They told him he should iron his pants. He ironed them flat, like the wrong way, so like the crease was on the side. Anyway, as a baby, he would crawl around and he would eat on the potatoes, raw potatoes. So his father was one of the rabbanim. This was in Lakewood. His father said that raw potatoes are not muktzah because his son eats them. So that's a raya. Okay. Hadar Yasvi v'kami bailu. This group was sitting, and a shaila came up amongst this group. This is we're talking about Rabbi Yonasan ben Eliezer, Rabbi Yonasan ben Achinai, and Rabbi Chanina bar Chama. Rabbi Chanina bar Chama is the famous one. Okay. And what's the question? They have a question. It says, it says that there are 40 malachas minus 1. That's 39. 39 malachas on Shabbos. What is it corresponding to? Now, the significance of this question is not what. Daddy, I see Levi. You can ask Levi. What it's not what malachas are aser. It's okay. Give me 1 second.
Rennie, you see what you did? You got the kid to want bananas.
I was trying to give him bananas.
You made the kid go bananas. Did you wear a yellow shirt so it would match the background?
No, I wear a yellow shirt because this is from the FBI Academy. I once went to it. And it's been in the closet. I never wear it.
So it's not which malachas are asa, that we know what's asa. The question is how to divide it up. And why do we have to say that there's actually 30, that there's actually 39? So some of the malachas are very, very similar. Sifting and separating are almost the same function. And those are divided into separate malachas. Why do we have to divide it like that? Say this 38 or 37. There's other ones. There's other malachas that seem to be very, very similar. Winnowing is also goes in that category. It's also separating. You throw the grain in the air, and the wind blows away the chaff. That's separating. So, why do you have to divide it up like this? That's the question. Why do we have to get to that number? So, Amalu Rabbi Chanina Bar Chama says, "Keneged avodas hamishkan." Well, those were different labors in the Mishkan, so that's how we divide it up. I think we sort of knew that. And it's associated with, because the halachas, the parsha of constructing the Mishkan is next to the parsha of Shabbos, observe the Shabbos. So that's how we know that those. Okay. Amalu Rabbi Yonasan bar Elazar, Kacham Reb Shimon bar Rabbi Yosi ben Lakunya. Rabbi Yonasan bar Elazar said that Reb Shimon bar Rabbi Yosi ben Lakunya has another pshat. He says, "Keneged malacha, malachta, umaleches shebetayra, arboim chasrachas." If you go through the Torah and you count out how many times it says the word malacha in any format of either malacha, malachta, maleches, so those, if you count it out, there's going to be 39. Okay. Now, what that means is like this. When the Torah says, kol malacha, leisase kol malacha, don't do any work. What it means is, kol malacha, every time it says malacha in the Torah, that's the amount of works that you don't do. So, Boy Rabbi Yosef has a question. This is recently in Saita. Here it quotes Lamed Vav. We had something similar over there. Okay, that he came to his house to do his work. This is Yosef is going to Potiphar's house to do his work. He says, "Mi minyanahu Eily." It's too loud. Is that one of the 39 or is it not? In other words, apparently he didn't have the calculation. He didn't have all the numbers. Amalei Abaya, Lesi Sefer Torah B'limnei. Abaya says, well, let's get a Sefer Torah and we'll count. We'll see it. This is Mila Yama Rabbi Bar B'chanan Rabbi Yechanan Leizaz Misham Atshevi Sefer Torah Manim. Did Rabbi Bar B'chanan not say in the name of Rabbi Yechanan that they did not move from there until they brought a Sefer Torah and they counted? Rashi says he doesn't know regarding what this was said. Maybe it was said regarding the Vav de Gachin. The Gemara Kedushin says, what's the middle of the Sefer Torah? It says last week's Parsha, there was the word Gachin, anything that crawls on its stomach or whatever. So there's a Vav over there. That's the center of the Torah. The Gemara says, which side is it on? Is that on this side or that side? Or maybe it was about the words. Where's the center of the Torah? Anyway, over there it quotes. What's the periodic table? What is it? I can't hear.
It's 39 malachas table.
I can't hear it. It's the sound.
It's 39 malachas table.
It's not coming through. I don't know why. So, So, oh, you talk. Oh, the 39, the malachas. You have it divided out like that. There's got to be 118 over there or something. So, okay. So, we have a statement that Rabbi Bar Bachana said in the name of Rabbi Yechon, bring a Sefer Torah, and we'll count it. So over here also, we'll count how many malachas there are, and we'll see if this is one of them. So, Amalei, in that Gemara in Kedushin, they couldn't count it because they were over there. They're counting letters, and the Gemara said that we don't know the chaseris v'yaseris. You can spell Hebrew words with vowels, and they'll replace silent letters. Like, for example, if you have an extra vav for the chaylam sound, or if you have a yud for a chirik, or an aleph, for a patach or a kamatz, or those letters we don't have, so we're not sure if we have it exactly. So over there we couldn't count it, but here we have mamash a word. You can't answer what the Gemara answered over there, that we're not baki b'yiseris v'chaseris. So Amrlei kikam esafkli mishum deksiv amalacha yisadayim. He says, no, that's not my question, what the number is. My question is the translation of that, because I have another pasuk that says v'amalacha yisadayim, the work was enough. It means like the job was finished. They were bringing the donations to the Mishkan, and it says that they brought enough. That the question is, Miminyahu, is that one also part of it? Vaha Kamanda Amar, and then what do we do with Vayava Yabaisa Lasis Malachte, that Yosef came to his house to do his work? Lasis Strachav Nechnas. It wasn't to do work. It was because he wanted to have relations with Potiphar's wife. And that's a euphemism. Came to do his work really means that Yosef had those intentions. Lasis Malachte, that type of work. But doesn't mean work. And then, so how do I get to 39? Because I'm not counting Vayav Yabayis Lasim Malacht. I get to 39 from Vamalacha Hisadayim. Or maybe not. Maybe Vayav Yabayis Lasim Malacht Minyano. Maybe that means Yosef had good intentions. He came to do his work. V'hai Vamalacha Hisadayim, in the pasuk that says that they brought all their donations, Hachikamer, the Shilam Le'avidita. It doesn't mean work. It means that it was finished. That malacha doesn't mean mamish work. It means that they had enough, that they brought enough materials. So teiku. We have to leave this as a question. We know we have 39, but we have one extra, and the question is which one of them is the one that's going to be used for the 39. Maybe that's the pshat arbaim chaser achas. I have 40 minus 1. That's an interesting twist. Okay, Tanya Kamanda Amar, can I get away this Mishkan? The Brisa says, we have a Brisa that's a support that it's referring to the work in the Mishkan. The Tanya was taught in a Brisa. Ein chayav en alal malacha shekiyetz b'Mishkan. You only chayav on work, that type of work was similarly performed in the Mishkan. Heim Zaro, they planted, Rashi says, what did they plant for? They planted to grow colorings, dyes, inks, to be able to color the tchelas. They planted, sowed is the word. V'atem leitizru, but you shall not. Heim katzru, v'atem leitiktzru. They harvested, and you shall not harvest. They is referring to the people that were constructing the Mishkan, and you is referring to working on Shabbos. You should not do this on Shabbos. They lifted up the boards of the Mishkan from the ground to the wagons. And you should not bring inside from the Rosh Hashanah to the Rosh Hashanah. The floor is Rosh Hashanah. And the wagon is Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because it's 10 tvachim tall and it's 4 tvachim wide. Is it 4 tvachim or 4 amos? 4 tvachim would already be a Rosh Hashanah. 10 tvachim high, 4 tvachim wide. Okay. They passed from one wagon to the other because when they had when they were traveling, they would set the wagons up one in front of the other, and they would pass it along the boards from one. That's how they would move it. And you should not bring from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah. Gemara says, 1 second. Rosh Hashanah, my covet, that's not a malacha. Says Abaye and Rabbi, Darmitabayo. Abaye and Rabbi both say, Bitemer Ravada Barava, and some say it's Ravada Barava, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Derech Rosh Hashanah. No, it is a malacha because there's Rosh Hashanah in the center. If there's Rosh Hashanah in the center, then you can't carry via a Rosh Hashanah from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah with that in the center. What do you need? I can't go. I'm in the middle of learning. Okay. Oh, you want a Gemara? Bring it.
Of course he wants Gemara. What do you think he wants?
See this. Begizei tzemer, ein metaltlin. With wool, shearings of wool, the clippings of the wool, you're not supposed to move it. It's muktzah. Rava says, Leishanu, this was only taught, elash leitaman behem. If you didn't use them already once, if you didn't use it for hatmana, if you didn't use it for insulation, aval taman behem, but if you used it, then metaltlin, then it's not muktzah. Metaltlin, I said. So there was a yeshiva student for one day, asked the question to Rava. On the side of my Gemara and Rabbeinu Nissim Goyin, they say, who is this yeshiva student for one day? It's Rav Eily. Rav Eily apparently would travel, there's a Gemara Chagiga that he would travel 3 months and make it to the yeshiva. He would make it to the yeshiva for just to learn for one day, and then he would have to travel back. So he got the title of a one-day yeshiva student. 3 months of travel just to get to the yeshiva, and he would only have 1 day there. So he has a question for Rava, or maybe it was a yeshiva student for 1 day that was able to quote this Mishnah and ask an important question. It says, you did hatmana with shearings of wool, and you can't, and it's still muktzah. Rabbi says only if you didn't use it yet. The Mishnah says even if you used it, it's muktzah. And the Mishnah has to tell me how to get the pot out. I have to take off the cover, and the shearings of wool will fall off on their own. So we have to adjust what just happened here. We have to say what Rabbi said. We have to translate it different. When is it muktzah? That's if it wasn't designated. So Naftali, this is maybe answering your. If these shearings of wool were actually designated for hatmana, so then they're not muktzah. This is only, when is it muktzah if it's lo yichtan latmana, if it wasn't designated. Aval yichtan latmana, but if you designated, this is now my hatmana materials, then metaltlins, and then they're not muktzah anymore. Okay. Tosfos has an issue. I'm not sure what the issue is with the girsa. I'm not sure what. I have to learn it properly. Apparently, there's a machlekes here how to learn this. Itmar Nam. It was also taught. Kiyasu Ravin Amar Rabbi Yaakov Amar Rabbi Asi, or maybe it's Rabbi Yosi ben Shol Amar Rabbi. Ravin Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi Yosi ben Shol says the name of Rabbi. Leishanu ala shlichten latmana. This is only if it wasn't designated for insulation. But if you did designate it, then now it has a new use. This is insulation material. Then it's not muktzah anymore. Ravina says, B'shel hefsek shanu. Hefsek. I'm not sure what the vowels are on that. What it means is that this is referring to if it's coming from a shelf. That means when is it going to be muktzah? If you took it off the display window, the shelf that's where you have your items for sale, and now you're using it for atmana, that's where it's going to be muktzah. But otherwise, it's not muktzah. Tanya nami hachi. It sounds a little different. This sounds like
the Nekudas is heftek with a dogesh taf with the tzera.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is Taisva's issue. When it says b'shel hefsek shanu, is that saying when it doesn't matter if it was yichtan latmana? No. Hefsek shanu, that's when you need to designate it. Otherwise, I'm able to resolve Rava's statement before that if it was used, then it's not muktzah. If it wasn't used, then it is muktzah. When but I have a kasha from the Mishnah that says it's muktzah even if it was used. So that's because you took it from the shelf. Over there, it needs to be designated. Now, Rava's statement can still be in effect that if you're using it for insulation, it's not muktzah. If I accept Ravina's pshat, that the Mishnah is talking about when it was on the shelf and you're using it, it's still muktzah. If I didn't take it off the shelf, then it's not muktzah if I used it automatically. You used it automatically. It's clear. Automatically, it's not muktzah because you used it. Mishnah that's describing how to get the pot out, when I took the cover off, that's because that was taken off the shelf. That's a special case where it remains muktzah even though I used it. But even in that case, if I designated it, then it was not muktzah. Okay. Tanya nami hachi was also taught in the Brisa. Gizi tzemer shel hefsek ein metalton naisan. The shearings of wool that are on the shelf, that are there for sale, those are muktzah. But if they were hiskinan, prepared by the balabayas to use them, so then they're not muktzah anymore. Okay, that means yichtan, that he designated them. Tana, Rabbi bar bar Chana kamid Rav. Rabbi bar bar Chana taught a brisa in front of Rav. Rabbi bar Chana was his first cousin once removed of Rav. Chana and Rav's father were brothers. And this is Rabbi bar Chana. So he's one generation off and lower than Rav. And the brisa that he taught goes like this. Charayah shel dekel. These are branches of a palm tree. And now, shagadron leitzim, that they were cut for wood. V'nimlach aleim liyeshiva, but you decided to use them as a chair. Tzarech lekasher. You have to tie them up to turn it into a bundle. Yeah, you have to do an action to turn it into a chair. Right now, they're made for firewood or for construction. Now you're changing its purpose. You have to do an action. You have to tie them. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says you don't have to tie them. What do you have to do? You have to think about it. You have to in your mind you decide that it's now a chair. Hutani Lavu Amala, Allah Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Rabbi Bar Bachana taught this, and he also says that Allah is like Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Itmar, we have a statement of Amaraim. Rav Amar Kaisher, Rav says that you have to tie it to make it not muktzah. Shmuel Amar Kaisher. Shmuel says that it's enough to think. Oh, here we have it spelled out clear. You just think that it's in your mind. You think this is a chair. It becomes a chair. Rabasi Amar Yoshev. Rabasi says you have to sit on it. I don't follow what it means leichishev. I guess what he means leichishev is that you didn't decide in your mind that you're going to continue to use it as a chair. Obviously, you didn't like fall on it and say, what it means is that you sat on it once, even though you didn't decide in your mind that, this would make a good chair. I'm going to keep this in my living room. It's nevertheless, you sat on it once, it's already not muktzah, according to Rabasi. The Gemara says like this: Bishlam Rav. I understand Rav's opinion. I have a support. Hudama Tanakama. Tanakama said that you have to tie it up to make it not a chair, to make it a chair, make it not muktzah, and that's what Rav holds. You have to tie it. Shmuel Nami Hudama Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Shmuel I also understand. He said cheshev. You have to think about it. That's what Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said. You think about it. El Rabasi Damer Kaman. Who does Rabasi go like? We don't have a support for Rabasi. Rabasi is an Amira. He has no Tanaic support. So the Gemara says, "Who the Amar ki Tana?" No, he does have a Tanaic support. It comes from another source, though. The Tanya was taught in a brisa, Yotzin bepikurin ubetzipa. Here we're talking about a type of bandage. If someone has a scratch, a cut, or something, so he takes flax and he wraps it around the wound. Now, we're not talking about an issue of refuah over here. A refuah, medicinal things, that's a problem on Shabbos. You're not allowed to make medicines or take medicines even, unless there's a real concern. But just plain, just to take extra medicines, that we don't do on Shabbos. So obviously, if there's a concern, then if it's a real concern, that's different. Someone just has, a rash. You're not supposed to put on things. He doesn't have to put it on. If someone has a minor headache, he's not supposed to take a Tylenol on Shabbos, unless it's the type of headache that he can't function. He has to lay down, or all of those things. That could be different. But he's considered a chayla. But otherwise, medicines are not supposed to be taken. Here, it's not a medicine. Here, he's putting on a bandage so that his wound doesn't get dirty. It's what the function of a Band-Aid is, to keep everything else out of it. But the thing is that these things are not actually designated for that sort of use. Pikurin is flax, combed flax, and tzipa is combed wool. But the only thing is, bisman shetzavan the karchan b'mashicha. I think it's tzavan b'shemen. Yeah, that's a Rashi's gersa. If he wraps it up, if he dips it into oil, and he wraps it in some sort of thread, so then it's clear that that's his usage for it. He's going to wear it as a Band-Aid. Then you can't carry it out on Shabbos. It's considered carrying. It's not considered a garment. However, even if he didn't do that, dip it in the oil and wrap it up properly, that it should be a real Band-Aid, even if he didn't do that, but however, he wore it once during the day, on Friday. So then you can go out with it. See, this is a raya to Rabasi, that once you used it with that function, permissible function, on before Shabbos, then on Shabbos it's already not it's not muktzah, and it's already considered that utensil, that sort of. We have even a Mishnah that says this. It says hakash shal gabi amita. If someone has straw, it's laying on a bed. Now, a bed is probably like a table, but usually straw is used for making bricks. something else. It could be a bed as well. So the straw is on this bed, but it's muktzah because straw naturally is made for bricks. La yanana biyadei. You can't move it with your hand. Aval manane begufay. You can move it with your body. That means l'klachayad, because you can't move the straw directly, but indirectly you can. Aval imhaya Michael behema, or alav Michael behema. Aishaya alav kari sadim maydiyah manane biyadei. If there was food together with it, animal food, or there was a cushion or a sheet on it during the day, then that already shows that it was designated as a bed. And what it means to say it wasn't designated. It means to say if you used it once during the day as a bed, so then it's already considered as a bed just because of that one usage. Shema Mina, this will be a raya to Ravasi that holds that just using it once makes it not muktzah. Okay, let's leave. Let's stop right here.
Happy Rosh Chodesh.
Learn on Sunday, 6:30. We got Chodesh to everyone.
Chodesh Tov to everyone.
Chodesh Shabbos. All the best.
Shabbos.
Chodesh Tov.
We started Shabbos Daf, so